G'day punters, welcome to the Sydney preview show. We've got the Everest, we've got the Kosciuszko. I think that's it for famous landmarks. I'm not sure what the other races are named after, but looking forward to a meeting that has a bit of fat on it from first impression. Shean Mark Rhoden both join me. Mark, Shean, what did you think just going through the form for the first time?
No, plenty of runners in most races, and looks a good betting card. So, yeah, something to get our teeth into.
Mark Rhoden, is there one race in particular that you think stands out more than any of the others?
Yeah, the Everest.
Good.
Pretty obviously. It's an interesting race with a lot of angles, but yeah, I agree. I think there's a few chances in most races and might be a decent betting program.
All right, very good. We're going to preview races 5 through race 9. We'll start with race 5, which is the Kosciuszko. We'll bring up the market, which is the best of the fixed odds available at this stage, and then followed by my speed map. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. It's Me's been a horse that you've had plenty of time for so far this preparation. You're going back to the well once more?
Looks a little bit skinny at the odds at the moment for me. I'd probably like a little bit better price. There has a report come through today also that it had some mucus and is on antibiotics. But we have seen that in the past surrounding this race. I think clearly Innocent had the bar plates on and everyone was bagging it. It won by about 10 with its head on its chest. So I don't know if this is going to go down the same track. Don't know if I could take 245. Its sectionals have been outstanding with all the twins. But I've got it around $3, $3.10. I thought Fender was a bit of value, actually, the stablemate. And I didn't mind redouble from barrier number 1 if the fence is okay. Just a couple of roughies there. Look, I think the favourite will be very hard to beat, but just a little bit shorter than what I've got it priced.
Mark Rhoden, is the case of if the favourite does what it has done at either of its last 2 starts, it basically just wins?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I suppose the little doubt is it's been running against horses that would be, 1,000 to 1 in this, and there's a few tough old campaigners in this, and it's the first time it's been in a race, put it that way. That said, the times it's been running suggests it's pretty good, and should be able to cope with the class rise. I've got it on top. It's the same for me. It's a pricing issue. I've got it a little bit shorter, 280, but still, in the big field. And she missed the start terribly 2 starts back. You wouldn't want to be doing that on Saturday. So I wouldn't want to be charging into 240 odd. I actually like Handle the Truth a bit, even 59 kilos and all. He jumped out of the ground in this race, second up to win it last year with Nash on. Nash goes back on tomorrow. I'm sure his entire preparation has been geared towards this race. If he can produce a similar run to last year, he's right in it and could even knock off the favourite. And I think at the price, it's the way I'd rather go. Betting wise, Front Page is an interesting runner. It's a couple of its wins last preparation, one at Albury actually, and one down the straight at Flemington, looked absolutely sensational. Pretty flat at Caulfield as favourite first up, I thought, but if it can find some of that, really exhilarating sort of form it showed in those 2 wins last prep, it can run a race as well. Not sure whether being on speed is going to be a massive plus on Saturday with the Northeasterly again as well, I should point out. But, yeah, good race. It's me, the obvious favourite, just a touch short for me. Handle the Truth for value. And that's the way I'll attack it, I think.
Yeah, I was pretty bullish on It's Me and have been for the last probably month or so. But, yeah, the news today hasn't been ideal, so I'll just leave it till late. We may very well get that better price, but I'll just get the man who's in form, Rob Scurry, just give it the seal of approval in the yard, and if he says launch, I'll launch, and if he doesn't, I'll sit on my hands. So it's really about it for me. I couldn't really find a second pick that stood out at the price at this stage. Race 6 on the card, another horse that's been in relatively decent form in terms of the track and trip is Deprive, and it comes up $2.90 here, best available this stage, leading the Sydney Stakes field. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. This is obviously a race for the leftovers out of the Everest. Did you like one more than the other?
Look, I do like Deprive. He won this race last year, and I think he has been actually set for this race. He paraded a little bit above himself the other day. He certainly didn't look screwed down, in my opinion. He's run third there to the really good horses in the lead up to the Everest, Libertini and Classique Legend in fast time. Admittedly, he won't get the same sort of speed up front here, but he's got an outstanding record at Randwick, and this race, to my eye, looks a lot thinner than it was last year. So I think if with natural improvement from that first up run, it looks the one to beat. The one I was a little bit frightened of was Irithea, who I thought has trialled okay, and from that inside draw could position up near the speed. The other one that looked a little bit of overs to me was Military Zone. Put the blinkers on. I thought he trialled okay in the blinkers, but I think the favourite will win Deprive.
Mark Rhoden, what price have you got Deprive at this?
I'm about $3, but I'm not.
Yeah.
This isn't the final draft by any means. There's a couple of ways I could look at it. He will be. I mean, if they're running on down the middle, and it should be established by race 6, and I suspect they will be, he might be really well suited and clearly the one to beat. If not, a couple I wanted to give a chance to stand out the market's found today. I've been against him. Well, he's just been outgraded, I think, in his 2 runs so far this prep. Also, he wasn't suited punching on outside the leader on a day when it was hard to lead last time, outside Nature Strip, wasn't it? Yeah, so totally unsuited there. We'll go much better with the trail. Nash sticking with him. If he can be like 3 pairs back with cover, I think he can improve. And the other one I'm giving a silly chance to is Special Reward, who just didn't cope at all with a fast run 1500 up at Newcastle last time, but has really good 1200 metre form and could improve. So I'm not going to declare what I'm doing in this race yet. I'll probably wait and see for the day. In fact, if it is looking swooperish with that northeasterly wind, then Deprive could well be the one, but there's a couple of others I could entertain as well.
Yeah, I was pretty happy to have something on Deprive, the 9 a.m. price, and then, save on Special Reward. I just watching that replay back at Newcastle just didn't seem to be particularly comfortable at any stage. Was a little bit wide early, and then didn't necessarily roll as far forward as thought they might have. It just seemed a bit of a lost race from that point of view. So those are the two I'd be looking to play there. Where'd you map Trumbull?
Towards the back.
Yeah. It's a horse.
Well, that one day it won. It jumped and straight to the front. Joe McDonald, but
that's one in about 20 though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's
like he flopped out of the trials again the other day, so you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
I just assumed back, but who knows.
All right, let's move on to the main event, the Everest, the $15 trillion race, and over the 1200 once more. Mark Shean, there's heaps of angles here. Which way have you settled?
Don't like Nature Strip. I know it's been well back. Leave me out of it. I like Classique Legend and Guitra. I think they map nicely. I'm going to stick with Classique Legend, give it another go. Just the fact that it's had the run closer to the race rather than Guitra. Who I notice has been beaten 5 times at 1200 metres round a bend. He's only won once up the straight, which getting into his form a little bit deeper has certainly interested me. I thought Tefani didn't have a great deal of luck last start. Wasn't a bad run. She hasn't drawn all that well. Her and Libertini are both drawn to go right back, and they may be giving away a big start. So they really need Nature Strip to be running along at a fast clip here for those to be running on from the back. But we did see those horses run second and third from the back last year behind Yes. So there could be plenty of speed on. But for me, number 3, Classique Legend.
Okay, very good. Mark Rhoden, for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to be on Nature Strip, but it was $8 when we spoke a fortnight ago, straight after his defeat. And that's actually his worst run since he really blew up in the Oakley Plate a couple of years ago, or 18 months ago. So he's coming off a really bad one. He was $8 then, he's 4 odd now, which seems pretty discounted to me. So notwithstanding my $3 Nature, I actually like Guitra. I take the point about 1200. That concerned me a little bit too. But I think the key to him might be being fresh, and he's had 6 weeks off here between runs. I think keeping him fresh is the real key to him. I know it was 1,000 metres and sort of fell into his lap, but he's he was really strong through the line there first up. I'm going to gamble on him at 1,200. I think the price is acceptable. Classic Legend, just been rock solid this prep. Well documented that he was unsuited last time, still ran second to Libertini. Looks to map really well here. And I too like Tefani a bit. I think it's fair to say she will have a lot left from that run down the straight at Flemington. Never really got to let down at all. Wouldn't surprise to see her jump out of the ground. Her best ever run was at this track winning the all-aged, admittedly at 1,400. But if the speed is on, I give her a good chance, and I think she's over the odds. So I would say my approach would be Gytra and smaller on Tefani.
Yeah, I've only got two that are really approaching an overlay at this stage. I was pretty disappointed and not exactly sure why Nature Strip firmed so much from the start of the week to this point, other than the barrier draw. But I expect that might correct itself a little bit more on the day. But Gytra and Tefani as well, they're horses that are slight overlays. Libertini almost, but I don't think it's going to be a huge spend race for me at this stage unless the market really changes, getting closer towards the jump. But it's obviously an interesting race. There'll be heaps of opinion going into it. Not sure about race 8 though. The Craven Plate, the Group 3 over 2,000 metres. Mark Shean, I'll go to you first of all. Do you have a play? Yeah, I do.
I'm just scratching my head over this race totally. Like, Star of the Seas does have a little bit of weight for age form now. Of course, second at Colding, and he didn't look like he had any luck, but he's going to 2,000 for the first time on a pretty hard track. I don't know if I could come at evens. He might win by 5, but I don't think I could come at him. I had something on Vanna Girl in the Epsom. She went disgraceful, but she had a bit of an ordinary preparation perhaps going into that. She hadn't run for a while. I thought a run in the tramway before that was okay. So I doubt that I'll have a bet in the race, but if I do, I'll probably be on Vanna Girl if she parades okay.
What are you making of Scarlet Dream? It was heavily backed last week, and here it is on the quick backup.
Well, it's Jekyll and Hyde. It isn't really. She has got good form, and sometimes she runs really well first up, and then she goes poorly second up, which seems to be the case in this point. But they're backing up within 7 days. I really couldn't find a 7-day backup in her form. Maybe I've missed it, but maybe she's done well, the stable, considering giving her another run. I've got to say, she didn't look fantastic before the race last week. She looked maybe one run off. I thought she'd improve a little bit more than she had. So maybe she was still a touch underdone, but was still an awful run, though.
Mark Rhoden, can you get Star of the Seas close to evens?
Close. If it was 1,600, well, it would be a different field if it was 1,600. But yeah, the 2,000's the little issue. I've got it 220. It's a bit like that race last week or 2 weeks ago. The one that Colding won, in fact, the Hill Stakes. There's not much. It's a weight for age race with a field of handicappers, really. Star of the Seas has to be favoured by default. I'm the same. I want to back Vanna Girl at better than $5. I've got her about 440. I think I'm just going to forgive the Epsom run and assume from gate 4. She has raced close a couple of times in Queensland in the past, and from gate 4 they had the opportunity to use that barrier and settle in the front half of the field at the very least. And I think she could be a big improver. She's probably the only other horse in the field other than Star of the Seas and maybe Natoya a lifetime ago that aren't terribly suited at weight for age. So I've really narrowed it down to Star of the Seas and Vanna Girl, and at the current prices, Vanna Girl's the better value.
Yeah, it's a bit of a yucky race overall. I half found Rontanella to begin with, but not sure the map's going to be suitable. But I'm also expecting the price to probably drift from what it is currently. Best available 12. I think we might get out towards 20, in which case I'll just have a very small bet on that. Not sure that horse is suited last start.
They've got blinkers on Pete, and they're going to ride it closer, so she could be a lot further up near the lead on Saturday.
All right, excellent. I'll throw that into the map and correct it there, but yeah, that's probably the only way I'm leaning at this stage. Star of the Seas, I've got 260, and even then, if it got to 260, I'd be pretty hesitant about backing it significantly. Race 9, St Ledger, 2,600. Another race that probably isn't going to be inspiring too much confidence from anyone, but Mark Shean, I'll throw to you first.
Well, this looks a better betting race than the previous. Look, I think Paths of Glory's been luckless at his last two. He's drawn very badly on both occasions. They rode him forward at Newcastle on the speed, and he was very game there. Then they went back in the Metrop, and that was a race where they just pulled up in the middle stages. He was one of the few horses that made ground from the back. He was passage in the straight. So I think from a much better barrier number 5, Kieran McAvoy on, I think that he finds a suitable race here past the Glory from Brimham Rocks, who had no luck in the Metrop as well. So I like number 7.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, anything for yourself in the St Ledger?
Very similar. I see the market have Brimham Rocks, Paths of Glory, Attorney and She's Ideal all pretty close together, but I've got the Metropolitan Form of a half a level or a level above the other. So I'd like to back... I've got Paths of Glory favourite, just ahead of Brimham Rocks. I think the market's slightly the other way around, but I think I'd just like to back both, and I'm pretty confident one of the two will win. Paths of Glory, yes, totally unsuited in the Metrop, and Brimham Rocks had a wide run and gets Jay McDonald on. So I think one of the two will likely win, and happy to back both.
Yep, I've got the same too. So all of a sudden I'm feeling slightly more confident. Brimham Rocks marked shorter than what it currently is, and Paths of Glory about there. So happy to back one, save the other, unless something drastically goes wrong. Very good. All right. Best. Exactly. That was easy. Best bets, value bets, lay bets. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. Anything on the card that takes your fancy?
Yeah, I like Deprive, and I think Paths for Glory would be very hard to beat. Lay, I don't like Forbidden Love in the 1400 metre race. Got 59 kilos. First crack at the trip. I think she'll struggle with the weight and the trip, so I'm taking her on in the 4th.
All right, very good. Mark Rhoden, for yourself, anything that you really like on the card?
I'm not quite finished yet, but for my best, I'll make it that St Ledger, Paths of Glory and Brimham Rocks.
Okay, very good. And I'll stick with Deprive in the 6th as well. All right, very good. Thank you to you both. All the best for the weekend. Enjoy the day, Mark Shean, being on course. I'm sure, well, I guess there's going to be a number of people there. It's probably not going to be as mad as the previous few years, though.
No, I think it's up to 10,000, so it'll be a bit more subdued than recent years. They've been on the Terps there at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and the other years, so it might be a bit quieter.
Oh, bloody good. And Mark Rhoden, you can be joining me in lockdown for another weekend, but, you know, what's the difference? It all seems the same now. Yeah. But you'll be having a busy weekend, no doubt, with a few other meetings going on as well.
Yeah, we've got provincials at Newcastle, isn't it? Yeah, Newcastle on Saturday, and we've had a really busy run the last 2 weeks, and I think it just quietens down a little bit next week. But yeah, always plenty on.
All right, excellent. I'll join you both on Monday. We'll talk about it with Rob Scurry. Until then, go well, guys.
Thanks very much.